Someone commented on our YouTube video about vocal fry that sent me on an incredible rabbit hole of a journey where I
Oh,
learned about vocal fry and I was really obsessing over it. And then it turns out that people who have issues with vocal fry are generally people who are sexist against women.
what? Do only women have vocal fry?
It's like the people who have issues with vocal fry have issues with vocal fry in young women. So to that person, I just have to say, uh...
First question, are you sexist? Second question, sounds like we're burping.
Hello, fellow yappers. I'm Ruchi.
And I'm Shalini, and we're your hosts of Binge, Yap, Repeat.
We're two best friends who spend an embarrassing amount of time binge watching TV, and honestly, we just need to talk about it. If you're here, we're guessing you do too.
Fair warning, this is a spoiler-friendly zone. We will be discussing lots of spoilers. So, if you haven't watched the show yet, hit pause, go binge, and come back when you're ready to yap with us.
And now, it's yap time. Do we have a oopsie doopsies?
Do we want to say hi to our listeners first?
Yeah, I guess.
Hello, yappers! Welcome to your extremely serious podcast, Sirius XM.
God. Sirius XMXOXO Gossip Girl.
We're probably the only ones that find this funny.
I love your new hairstyle.
Thank you! I was just in Seattle, and I am super loyal to my hairdresser there. Her name is Jewel Rogers. Anyone who lives in Seattle or near Seattle, you must go to her. She's at the salon called The Style Chalet. And she's amazing. She's the only one I trust with my hair.
Yeah, it looks really pretty. You look like
Oh,
Jen
thank
from
you.
Secret Lives.
She was my inspiration, actually. No, she
Now
wasn't.
cry.
No, I can't cry as pretty as Jen. Well, yeah, do we have any oopsie doopsies? I have a minor oopsie doopsie from a few episodes ago when I was talking about the Survivor finale.
Yeah.
This is something that my sister pointed out to us, is that Camilla, who I said was South Asian, is actually Guyanese. So that is one oopsie doopsie. Also, I'm pretty sure she's coming back for Survivor 50 or something. Yeah, along with Mike White and a few others who have been on Survivor before. Yeah.
Mike White on Survivor was actually such a treat to watch. I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I liked that. That's actually the only season of Survivor I've watched in full, the David v. Goliath season.
Oh, because I
Yeah.
think that was one of the few seasons on Netflix, right?
Ooh, maybe. I actually don't remember what platform I watched it on. But
I
yeah,
don't. I
maybe.
definitely watched it on Netflix because yeah, I was like, I want to watch Survivor, but I don't want to pay any more money to any other platforms. And then
That's
luckily,
fair. Other oopsie doopsie, also from Survivor, or no, actually, this is from The Amazing Race. That Asian sibling pair that we were talking about, we were like, oh, they have no shtick, but sorry, what was their shtick? I'm actually forgetting. Was it that they didn't spend very much time together until now or something?
yeah, and their younger brother had gone to the military. I don't know, I'm just gonna bring up the
Oh,
chat. Their claim to fame is that they are siblings who haven't spent much time together and haven't ever worked together because the younger brother went to military school.
all right. Oh, so also confirmed that they are not twins, which I can't remember if we asked, but I thought they were twins, but okay.
Yeah, so I think we were talking about two different Asian siblings. So the one that I was
Yeah.
talking about was on season 34, I think, the Munich season, where there are these two women and they were identical twins. And then I think you were talking about the most recent season where there are two Asian siblings. Yes. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Got it. Clear
Glad
that
we
up.
sorted that out.
Then I also have an update on the Vanderpump stuff from Ariel. Ariel said, The Vanderpump universe is large, but TLDR is Lisa Vanderpump started as a housewife on Beverly Hills. Then she left the show and began a spin off show called Vanderpump Rules, which followed a bunch of waiters, waitresses, bartenders at her LA restaurant Pump. That show is literally god tier reality TV because these people were unhinged. But I wouldn't recommend binging because it is 20 seasons. And then if yeah, and then if you know the Scandival stuff with Ariana Madix and Tom Sandoval, that was the last 2 seasons of the show and it ended last year. Anyway, the replacement for it is The Valley, which stars people from Vanderpump Rules, and Vanderpump Villa, which is the show that Marciana was on.
Hmm.
And then Tom Tom, the show that the Secret Lives wives, they were talking about the restaurant Tom Tom where Demi and, or maybe it was Jesse, was kissing Marciana.
Yeah, yeah,
So
Jesse.
so that restaurant is started by Tom Sandoval and Tom Schwartz, which is why it was named Tom Tom, because they're
Uh,
main characters on Vanderpump Rules.
got it. All right.
Should we talk about Forever?
Yeah, let's do it.
Today we're going to talk about Forever, which is a Netflix series that first premiered on May 8th, 2025. The premise of the show is reunited as teens, Keisha and Justin are two childhood friends who fall deeply in love, experiencing the joy and heartache of a first romance. And it's American romantic teen drama television series created by Mara Brock Akil, and it stars Lovie Simone as Keisha Clark and Michael Cooper Jr. as Justin Edwards.
Lovie Simone, not to be confused with the hit movie Love, Simon, which I kept thinking about whenever I saw her name.
That is true. Lovie Simone is not Love, Simon. And it's loosely adapted from the Judy Blume book of the same name, Forever. And it's already been renewed for a second season. I think I am confusing Judy Blume with Junie B. Jones.
Junie B. Jones. Wait, that sounds so familiar.
Did you ever read those books? It's like a book series, Junie B. Jones.
I think I am also mixing Judy Blume with Junie B. Jones.
Oh no.
What did Judy Blume write?
I know the name Judy Blume, but I really don't recognize any of these books. And I feel like whenever anyone talked to me about Judy Blume, I would be like, probably the author of Junie B. Jones. And I think I just continued with that terrible assumption for like a decade, maybe even more.
Oh no. Okay, I don't know if I've read any Judy Blume books then. Let me see.
I think I have either.
All right, so listeners, some of her children's books are the one in the middle is The Green Kangaroo, Iggy's House, Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, which does sound familiar, so maybe I've read that or at least heard of it. Also, all of these books were written in the 70s. Otherwise known as Sheila the Great, The Pain and the Great One, Freckle Juice, Super Fudge, Fudgemania, Double Fudge, Fungology, The Study of Fudge. No, I'm just kidding.
It's first grade SpongeBob, but there is a Fudge series. And
Okay.
Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing was the first in the Fudge series. And then, otherwise known as Sheila the Great, Super Fudge, Fudgemania, Double Fudge were all books in the Fudge series. Not Fudgeology, that is not canon.
Word. All right, and then she has a bunch of young adult books. So she has kids' books, young adult books, and some nonfiction books. Her young adult books are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Then again, maybe I won't. It's Not the End of the World. Deanie, Blubber, Forever, which was written in 1975. Tiger Eyes, Just as Long as We're Together. Here's to You, Rachel Robinson. Places I Never Meant to Be. Yeah, I don't think I've read any of these.
Me either. But it looks like Forever, yeah, so Forever is one of her young adult books, and it's about teenage sexuality.
The show did hit on that.
I'm reading the plot right now. Oh my.
How different is it?
Very much about sex.
Oh, wow, this one was like barely about sex, I feel like.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yes. So I see now why they say that it's loosely based.
Okay. All right. What is Forever the book about?
So it seems to be, this is just based off the Wikipedia plot summary, but it seems to be more about like, yes, teenage sexuality, but also way more about teenage sexuality than like what was shown in Forever. So there are still like two main characters, Catherine and Michael. They are students at nearby schools. They have a relationship, but there doesn't seem to be any, at least this is also from the Wikipedia, so there doesn't seem to be any like further tension like there was in Forever, for example. And there's more about like Catherine and Michael, about their relationship progressing and getting more intimate. And then they do go on family vacations in different states, but Catherine becomes attracted to this older tennis instructor, and then Michael like sees them holding hands or something. Um and then Michael's like, "Oh, so this like we're not in a relationship anymore," like confused. So apparently the book, spoiler alert, the book ends with a final meeting between Michael and Catherine, and then Catherine is basically saying, this was a great relationship, but not ready for forever. Yeah. So I think kind of similar to the ending of Forever, where it felt like, but it felt more mutual, I think, with the TV series. It felt more mutual, like they both, like, obviously loved each other, but neither of them were ready for Forever because that seemed like a big thing. So I think they actually made a very mature decision at the end where they were like, oh, we're going to, we're going to go away for college, or like we're going to see where life takes us. And in 10 years, we'll be taking pictures together.
Wait,
Middle
what is that?
Middleton
Oh,
Arts reference. Anyway, so yeah, so then they were basically saying like, oh, in 10 years, maybe if we still have this depth of feelings toward each other, we'll find each other, which I thought was very mature.
yeah. All right. Going back to the book for a sec, though, that doesn't sound like it has anything to do with the show, to be honest. Right? Like, the only similarities are that they're two teenagers who begin a relationship?
Basically, yeah. I mean, like the summer camp thing is similar.
What summer camp?
Or sorry, not the summer camp thing. The fact that both of them take them to like different states on family vacations. Maybe one of them goes to, what is it, Martha's Vineyard? Maybe they
Yeah.
go to Martha's Vineyard for camp or whatever. I don't
Loosely based. Loose?
know. Listeners, y'all should watch Middle Ditch and Shorts on Netflix. I think the podcast will be much more enjoyable.
Yeah, honestly, just okay, before you binge the shows that this podcast is about, binge all of SpongeBob, then binge all of Middleditch and Shorts, and then binge our shows, and then binge us.
Stop listening now. Don't turn it off. Go listen. Go watch Middleditch and Shorts. It's an easy 4 hours, and then come back. Start with Love, Megan, and then listen to this episode.
We need to write an instruction manual for our podcast.
Sometimes I feel sorry when I see the episode analytics on With Love Megan have increased, because I'm like, who is starting from the beginning? And I am so sorry that you're doing that.
Who the fuck are you? Not us berating our listeners.
Like, don't.
Don't. That was what I like to call our experimental phase of this podcast.
Yeah. I would say, what would be the episodes that you would actually recommend from our podcast?
I would say, yeah, Four Seasons, Sirens, Bête Noir from Black Mirror. And I thought our apple cider vinegar episode was really good, but I feel like not that many people have watched that show.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Deli Boys is also really funny. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
North of North.
Yeah, we did. We tried with North of North. I feel like we really gave it a shot.
Yeah. And I think we did justice to it. I think we did justice to
Okay. Oh my God, we need to focus,
it. We did a reel it in.
reel it in. Okay, wait, we didn't even do overall
Okay.
thoughts.
Yeah, we did not.
Okay, you
Um,
want to start?
sure. Uh, yeah, I think the show was pretty easy to binge, honestly. I think there's something about Netflix shows that just know how to keep me hooked on it, even if I'm not. I mean, I not that I wasn't into this show, but just their way of storytelling always is very like I always want to know what happens next, and so this show definitely did that. Um, I at some point got a little tired of the teenage drama of it all and how every single disagreement turned into a breakup. I was like,
Mm,
guys, like, you've been through so much at this point. This one
mm.
conversation doesn't need to be a make or break, you know? But I guess that's kind of realistic. I don't know how realistic that is, but definitely more realistic for a teenager than for that to happen in a relationship of 30-year-olds. Yeah, but I thought the main characters were both really cute, and I was rooting for both of them, and it was sweet how their families supported each other. So, yeah, overall, I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. I think in previous Binge in Progress sessions or segments, I had talked about how the initial communication issue was very much misunderstanding based. Like, oh, he didn't reply to me, but it's actually because his phone was taken away from his mom. Like, I'm gonna block him. And I really hate that type of drama, but I'm glad that it actually evolved over the course of the season to be more than that. It was more like, oh, this communication between us is actually solid now, and it's more communication with our parents and communication with, to be honest, ourselves in terms of what we really want to do instead of what other people expect us to do. So I liked that it had evolved into that over the course of the 1 year that they were dating. I don't think I would have been able to stand it if it continued to be more about the misunderstandings. And then to your point about the fact or like teenage romance being so like easily like they broke up. I think that is very realistic because I remember my first boyfriend in high school. We started dating like we were official, and then he went to Europe for 2 weeks. And by the time he came back to from Europe, I was like, I'm over this. Let's break up. I'm not ready. So I think that is completely reasonable. I feel like high school relationships are so much like, oh my gosh, we've been dating for like 2 whole weeks. And that's a big thing compared to, modern day, where you're in the situationship talking phase for like months.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. Wow, Ruchi, a little heartbreaker.
Lol. I am not proud of that relationship. I feel like I acted very immaturely looking back on it.
You are just a child.
Yeah, it's true. Happy I had that experience. Thanks for yapping with us. Okay, wait, one character that I really wanted to talk about was um Justin's mom and her parenting style. Because I felt
Mm-hmm.
like there were so many things that she did which were so good and so spot on, but then there were so many things that she did that I was like, huh? Like, why are you doing this? So
Yeah.
yeah, what were some things that stood out to you?
Okay, so just her character overall, I was actually really confused about what they were trying to do with her character. I don't know if they were trying to show this very nuanced person who wants the best for their son, comes from a high achieving background, but wants that for their kids, but doesn't want to pressure them too much. But I was just like, are they trying to show her as a really helicopter type A mom? Are they trying to show her as a modern parenting type positive role model? Are they trying to show her as a total hardo, judgmental rich person? I feel like she kind of towed the line between all of those. And and that's why every time she made a decision, I was like, what? I don't think she would do this. And it was super confusing to me. So I think the first time I thought that was, well, first when she finds out about the sex tape, when they're on vacation in Martha's Vineyard, and then the first conversation she has with Justin is like, you need to break up with this girl. And he's like, no, I'm helping her just like you taught me to be a stand-up person. And then she turns around and she's like, we need to help this girl. And it's like, yeah, he was already doing that. Also, it's not really your place to do that. And then why are you like threatening to tell her mom that is not your place at all? And yeah, that was so crazy to me. And then I guess another point that stood out to me as like a whoa, what are they trying to do with this character was when he goes to it, I think this might be the last episode when he goes to the Northwestern mixer or whatever, and then they're talking to someone, and anytime he tries to answer that person, she talks over him and interrupts him. I'm like, I just don't believe that she would do this. She is on top of things and wants to help him, but I don't think they've shown enough to make me believe that this is a bad quality of her, that she like wants to talk over her son all the time. So I was just a little confused about what they're trying to do with her. I do think I like out of the two mother-child relationships we saw, I think my mom is definitely more like Justin's mom than Keisha's mom. And so I saw a lot of my mom in her and just, wanting the best for your child, but also wanting them to know that your love is unconditional and not wanting to put too much weight on their achievements, but also wanting to celebrate their achievements, just towing that line. So I overall thought like obviously she had good intentions, but definitely some things that confused the heck out of me.
Yeah, I think one dynamic that I didn't really like was how the dad was the chill guy and the mom was always the disciplinarian, because that's such a stereotypical gender role that we see where the mom is always the bad guy and the dad's like, "Oh yeah, like take the car, like do all of these things." So I think that was a little bit strange. Um, Going back to your point though about her initial reaction and then her double back with the response to the sex tape, I do think that she had a self-reflection moment where she was like, "Oh yeah, I," and they had a conversation. She and Justin had a conversation about this too, where she was like, "Yeah, I know that my initial reaction was to protect you and know make sure that you knew the whole story, but now my second reaction is, well, she is like she's been kicked out of her school. No one was there for her, and she didn't even tell her mom, who I know will be there for her and who would absolutely want to know." Um, and so I think there was that conversation around, oh yeah, we need to interfere in this, or like we need to intervene and make sure that she is getting the support that she needs. So I do like that even though it was none of her business, that she did intervene in the end, because that resulted in Keisha getting the support that she needed from her mom. Like, yeah, it was tough at first, but I think ultimately everyone ended up in a better place. I think what I didn't like, or maybe what I wanted to see, was some kind of consequence for Christian, because I absolutely think that he got off scot-free, and everyone said that he got off scot-free, but there was nothing in the end. There was no resolution to that.
Yeah, that is so true. I can't believe she went to prom with him. I could
Yeah.
not believe that. I don't even know, like, obviously she did it for her mom's sake, or she just didn't want to rock the boat too much and let her mom know that anything was going on, but I would feel so unsafe with him.
Yeah. I mean, I guess at the end we realized that Keisha felt like she was to blame as well, which is like, oh, I am the person who actually sent the video to Christian. And then Christian sent it to one of his friends. And then that friend was the problem because he sent it to everyone else. So it wasn't that Christian was doing anything wrong, even though he was. It was like my fault for sending it to him and believing in him in the first place. And then it was that friend's fault for actually distributing it. So yeah, but I think to your point, I also agree. I don't think she really needed to go to prom with Christian. Like her mom knew that they were broken up. So, like,
I
why?
think, did she know they were broken up?
I think,
Well, yeah, because she was like, she knew that he was sending flowers, trying to make it up to her or whatever.
yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I think I would not have agreed with Keisha, but also I don't think Keisha is as petty as I am because I absolutely would have agreed with Chloe and I would have been like, let's sue Christian on the day that he signs with Kansas because this guy needs to have some consequences. I absolutely would do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It was surprising to me that she didn't blame she blamed herself as much as she blamed Christian. Because there's
Yeah.
such a big difference between sharing it with the person who made the video with you and then him sharing it to someone who had nothing to do with it. There's such a big difference. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it just like you sending it to him didn't have to turn into this whole thing. He's the one that made it into a thing, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So I was really confused as to how Keisha was so mature about not involving Christian or not punishing Christian. But then
Yeah,
I don't know, I just didn't get it. Maybe it was
I don't know.
immature because she was like, I don't want him to be in trouble. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that she didn't think it was his fault, I think made sense for her not to want to ruin his life. But like the fact that she didn't think it was his fault is the immature part, not the fact
Yes.
that she didn't want to ruin his life. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. She's kinder than
Yeah.
I am.
Ruchi would be like, "No, this wasn't his fault, but let me ruin his life anyway."
Oops.
Oops. No Kansas for you.
Oh yeah. I wanted to do the true love test with you.
What does that mean?
In one episode, Keisha is writing Justin's name and then her name, and then she wrote true love, and then she had 31% or something was their love compatibility. And I was like, how did she, well, like, what is this MASH thing? And like, what is she actually doing? So I found a TikTok that explained what you do, and I did it with our names.
Is
So
it
I,
is it just you count how many letters of TRUELOVE are in the combination of our names?
exactly, yeah. Okay. So here's how it looks. So I wrote our names and then I did the compatibility with our just our first names and with our first names and our last names. So yeah, so basically like you add them up here. So if we were just looking at your our first names, which is the true love category on the left. Yeah, we have 21% compatibility because we have R, U, and L, but none of the other letters. But then if
Great.
we add our last names, we have 61% because you basically just add them up individually and then like you add them up this way and then that's your
Mm-hmm.
tens digit and then you add them up this way and that's your ones digit. So our
What?
true love compatibility is 61% if it's our full name.
I have notes for this extremely scientific calculation.
Don't ask me what happens if there's more than two digits in the ones digit. I don't know if you carry.
Wow, someone named True, 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 True is gonna have a great score.
But then you would only have 44%.
No, it's gotta be True, 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 True Love.
True, 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 true. La, 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 la.
Or like Rut, Rut, Rut.
Rut, 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 roll. Revolver. That would be another amazing
Ooh,
name. True
okay.
Revolver.
True Love Revolver. Okay, yeah. If someone's name
Oh,
was,
E
yeah,
also would do very well because E's are counted twice. So we were just
true. If you were 10 E's as your first name and 0 E's as your last name, wait, that would be 100%?
because yeah, because true and love both have E's in it.
Uh-huh.
So you would only have to
Oh, right,
have
right, right. But you don't need a
yeah.
zero. You don't need a single digit. So okay. So if you if your name is 10 E's,
then you are set for love. Everyone is gonna fall in love
Anyone.
with anyone.
Dude, Lovie Simone's True Love would be so good. Oh, wait, no, because Lovie would be for true and Simone would be for love?
No, it's combined. Yeah.
Wait, wait, then what's true and what's love?
You go through all of the words, all of the names,
Oh,
and then
right, 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 right,
yeah,
right.
how many T's are there, how many R's are there, U's are there, E's are there, and you count them up.
Got it. Okay, okay.
So
So
Lovey Simone
Lovie Simone.
would do numbers in the love column. Yeah,
Okay, got it.
yeah. Just ones across the board.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I think I want to talk a little bit more about the parenting. You know how Justin's mom at one point told him to quit basketball and focus on school?
Mhm.
That was so triggering to me because when I was in high school, I was on the water polo team and swim team, and I think it was junior year. It was right around AP season, and I was taking an AP test for a class that I wasn't in, and so I was studying extra hard for it. And it was also during swim season, and but swim was my one outlet where I didn't have to think about school. I found swimming so cathartic, and I remember at one point my parents were like, I think you need they didn't tell me to quit swim team. They were just like, I think you need to skip some swim practices leading up to your AP tests. And I was like, no, swim is my place of peace. And we got into this huge fight about it. Not they weren't even trying to get me to quit. They were just like, skip a few practices. And I was like, no. So anyway, that reminded me of that quite a lot.
I know exactly what you mean. I think I actually had this conversation with my dad very recently where he was like, "Oh, why are you doing this podcast stuff? Like just focus on your work and everything." And I was like, "The podcast stuff is what makes me feel like myself." And so I think we've had this conversation, basically the same conversation, like for decades now, where when I was in high school, they were like, oh, don't do tennis, like focus on your schoolwork. And then when I was in college, they were like, don't do a cappella, focus on your schoolwork. And then even when I started working, they're like, don't do a cappella, focus on your actual work. But I was telling him that out of like all of those things, I feel like the side stuff was what actually made me feel like myself and helped me deal with all of these other things that are going on in my life. Like it's my main thing, sure, but the side things and this, the hobbies and everything, it's like what makes you feel whole. I also
Totally. And you need outlets to turn your brain off and just like be a human being and not a robot that's at her computer all day.
Yeah, exactly. I think I have a theory about this though. So my theory is that growing up, my parents at least, they came from very humble backgrounds. They were not very affluent or anything. And so I think for them, it was truly a luxury to be able to focus on schoolwork and to be able to one track mind focus on actual work. And that's what they want us to do. But as we're growing up, we're like, just being so single focused on one thing is not enough and it's not what we actually want. And it's also like not what colleges want either, right? Or like colleges or other places of work. Like people want you to be dynamic and they want you to be able to think about things in a variety of different ways. And you don't even get that mindset unless you are doing other things other than your main work.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I mean, the importance of well-roundedness is so, I think in the academia space is so undervalued. Yeah,
Yeah, for
very true.
sure.
And I think my grades in college would have been so much worse if I wasn't playing sports and doing a cappella. Because I would be like spiraling every single day and I wouldn't be able to focus.
For sure. I feel that way too. I think also what's really important to me is communities. Like, I really love creating communities and being a part of communities as my side thing. And that's honestly helped me so much in my main work too. Like in college, because we did a cappella together, that's how we became friends. And then we were able to help each other out in our classes. What was that one physics lab that we took together?
Oh my God, APH 119 or APH 109, APH 109, yes. Our applied physics lab Friday evenings from 7 to 10 p.m. What were we
Horrible.
doing? What
Horrible. Absolutely horrible.
and the way that we were told it was an easy A plus and we both got A minuses.
Whoops. Hey, if we were there and we did not have each other, it would have been like bees.
So true. So true.
The whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yes. Anyway, back to extracurriculars. Yeah, I liked that. I don't know. I just like that they depicted both main characters as pretty well-rounded people. Justin had sports and he had music. It was like, oh, he's really good at basketball. He's also very into music. And Keisha was a genius. And also the star track athlete. So I like that. I feel like so often characters are painted as one thing, but it's very realistic for someone to be very smart and also good at track. Yeah.
Yeah, and almost like expected from colleges nowadays, from what I hear from
Yeah.
my cousins.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
seems cutthroat now, man.
Yeah, you have to be able to do it all, and not only do it all, but like be the best at everything all at once. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yeah.
One thing that I wanted to talk about was the soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack was so good. I
So
was
good. It
vibing.
always hit. It was so good. Yeah, our friend Sarah, I can't remember if she said this in our group chat or if I was just talking to her about it, but she was just like, the music made me so nostalgic for high school, even though these songs weren't even when I was in high school. I don't know how they did it. It was so well integrated and got me in the feels every single time. Oh, it was so
That
good.
reunion scene in, what was it, in Martha's Vineyard when they like bike towards each other and then they hug.
Yeah, so sweet. Was that a her song
Or if it was
that
her or
they
Daniel
played?
Caesar.
Maybe both of them.
Best part?
I don't think it was best part actually.
I think best part was featured though at
I
some
think
point.
so, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Similar to the music, but I guess on a slightly different note. Did you notice anything weird with the sound mixing in the show?
I don't think so.
There were a few places where the dialogue just sounded really garbled. I don't know. I was like, "Oh, maybe it's just my headphones," but then I also noticed it on a TV. I don't know what was going on, but like there were instances when people were talking, but like the S sound sounded like a shh because it was so like crispy. It was really strange. I felt that in several places, and I was like, is it just like really windy outside? Like, what's going on? It was usually an outdoor scene, but sometimes it was an indoor scene.
Oh, I did not
Yeah.
notice that, but I believe you because I feel like you're very perceptive when it comes to these things.
It
Coming
was a
from
little
someone
distracting, honestly.
coming from someone who saw the little glitch for like zero point 0.1 milliseconds on Gilmore Girls.
What was that?
So wild.
Um, okay. Well, yeah. Listeners, let me know if you also noticed that. I don't know. Maybe it was just me. Um, okay, what else did I want to talk about? Oh, this is just a little note, but in at the basketball games, I noticed that the colors of each team were flipped. So when it was a Brookwood home game, Camden was wearing their home colors. But then when it was a Camden home game, Brookwood was wearing their home colors.
Oh, is that how basketball works?
That's how most team sports work. Yeah. So when you're at home, you wear your school colors, and the away team wears white generally.
Oh, okay. So I just looked it up and it says in professional basketball, teams playing at home typically wear lighter colored uniforms than the visiting team.
Huh? Is basketball backwards to other sports?
I think so, because I think football works that way, where it's like lighter is the away and then darker is home. But I think in basketball it's different. Because I remember going to a
Mm,
basketball game and being confused because I was like, where? Wait, I think it was like a Warriors game that I went to, and I was like, why are the Warriors wearing this color? I was confused by that.
interesting. Okay, because water polo is also like football, I guess, where the home team wears their team colors and the away team wears white. And I'm
Yes.
trying to think, I just went to a Golden State Valkyries game, but I could have sworn that the home team, Valkyries, wore dark colors. Let me see.
Yeah, so let me see. In NFL, most teams often wear their official team color at home, with the road team being assigned to wear white in most cases. But I think they can also, I think it's like the home team can choose. And then NFL's current rules require that a team's home uniforms must be either white or official team color throughout the season, and visiting clubs must wear the opposite.
Mm.
Most people
So
choose
home,
their home. They're like full
so it's just the
colors.
choice. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Valkyries game I went to at the Valkyries Stadium at Chase Center, Valkyries wore dark and their opponent wore white.
Hmm. Oh well.
Interesting. But then the Stanford basketball game I went to, Stanford was wearing white.
I guess it's just a choice. It's just like, what do you want to wear?
All right. Interesting. Well, I have really hyperfixated on that for no reason.
Well, now we know the rules of some sports. So I guess my question is, what would you have done in Christian and Keisha's situation? Let's say you were Keisha and you were in high school and someone had a sex tape of you. What would you do?
Um, I would definitely have told my parents, but I can see why Keisha didn't, honestly, because I think they, the way they showed their relationship was actually very similar to, I thought, Lorelai Gilmore and Rory Gilmore, where Lorelai and Keisha's mom have placed almost their self-worth on their daughter's success, and that's so much pressure on the daughter, and so the daughter just feels like she has to be perfect. Anyway, if I was in Keisha's shoes, um, I don't know that I would have acted any differently, honestly. I think I hope I would have had the wisdom to know that it wasn't my fault and it was all him, but I don't know that I would have. I don't know. What would you do? I guess you already said what you would have done.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think in high school me, I don't know if high school me would have told my parents.
Yeah.
Um, well, high school me was too immature to be in that situation, if you know what I mean. I was like,
Girl, I didn't even kiss a boy till I was 18, so
yeah, same.
there was no way I was gonna be in that situation.
Same. Oh my God. Lol. What was I gonna do at a math competition? Um, anyway, yeah, so I think if I were in that situation, I don't know if I would tell my parents either. I think I would wait a really long time and then tell them after a couple months, maybe.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I would have survived without telling my parents, actually. I think me in my situation, not in Keisha's situation, but yeah, I think I probably would have told my parents immediately and been like, guys, help me.
What did you think about the high school experience in general, though? Do you think it's like significantly different from how you experienced high school?
I think they show high schools on TV as everyone being so beautiful and stylish, but I was like wearing hoodie, jeans, and flip-flops to school every single day. Like, I did not have time to think about what I was wearing to school. That's the only thing that I thought was unrealistic, but everything else I thought was quite realistic.
I truly wonder how high school is today. I wonder if they are that stylish. Because I would believe it, to be honest, if people were like heavily influenced by TikTok or Instagram or something. I guess TikTok, not Instagram, and being like, oh, I need to like wear this and like wear the special thing and whatever. Because I feel
Maybe.
like even growing up, my high school experience was like not not what the high school experience was being portrayed on media. And even
Mm,
from talking to like other high schoolers, in my high school. I was like, we had very different high school experiences.
Yeah. I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Do you feel like you are more prepared or maybe more scared about potentially being the mom of a high schooler one day?
I don't know. I thought like every time there was a scene between a parent and the high school child, I actually felt like I knew what the parent should be saying. So maybe I don't feel ill prepared, but um it is just like a scary world that kids are growing up in these days. The world is so different now, and I've thought a lot about like at what age I would let my children have a smartphone and stuff because I think it's really scary how influenced by social media young children are. And so, I don't know. I might wait until they're 16 honestly to give them a smartphone. Um but anyway, that's the only part that scares me is how the world would affect them and how they would perceive themselves and everything just based on social media. But other than that, I don't know if the show really scared me. It did. You know how Sarah, when she was talking to us about it, she was like, it made me want to fall in love. It made me so excited to be in love. I actually had the opposite reaction where I was like, I'm getting residual emotional burnout from this relationship, and I don't want to talk to any man. No, not that extreme. I just seeing how distraught each of them was at so many points over the season, I was like, I don't know if I want that emotional roller coaster. Like, it's just so, I've been there, I was there for so long and so many points in my life that I just don't know if I can do the high lows again.
But what about near
Not
the
to
end
say,
where it wasn't really about the high lows, but it was more about like being there for each other and being the physical manifestation of the voice that's inside your head? Like that scene at Christmas where Justin and Keisha are talking, and then Keisha is like, well, I got you this Christmas gift just in case you decide to pick music. And then also at the end where he's like, I think I'm going to go to Northwestern. And she was like, are you absolutely sure about that? Um, so I think like being that emotional support and being like, is this really and truly what you want to do? Because I know you and this is what I where I've seen you be your happiest self. And I don't think you would be happy at Northwestern, but also I just want to support you no matter what. I feel like that was what resonated with me about their love story.
yes, but I also think I thought her whole when she came at him and was like, "You're so lost," blah blah blah. I thought that was just her dad that was in her ear being like, "Your boyfriend's super lost." And I don't know. I was like, this I feel like this came out of nowhere and now he believes it about himself. When like it's normal to be lost at this age. It's not a flaw. Um so I don't know. That's kind of how I reacted to that. I was just like, I don't think she needs to be criticizing him for this right now. And I think it's a little unfair. Like, just because she's had this goal that she knows she wants since she was 5 years old or whatever, doesn't mean everyone does. And it doesn't mean that that's something that's wrong with them.
That's true. I do think in that moment it was probably her dad's words that were coming out as her own. But I also felt like she had a point, and like maybe she shouldn't have used those words about, oh, you're lost and you like need to get your stuff together or whatever. But I do think that she was providing a voice to the doubt that was in his head.
Yeah. I think, okay, I do think I'm a little biased because I know not everyone feels this way, but I truly believe my parents know me so well and always have my best interest at heart that I'm like, why are you listening to this girl that's known you for a year when your parents have been there for you your entire life? Why are you choosing her advice over theirs? So I think that's the place where I'm coming from, where I'm like, that, like, yeah, he's getting some judgment from this girl he's only known for a year. Obviously, they know each other well, but like, she doesn't have the same life experiences he's had. She doesn't have the same support system he has. She doesn't have the same well, I think both of them had a lot of expectations placed on them by their parents. But yeah, I was just like, I don't think she needs to be the one telling him this right now. I don't know. And I also felt that for her. I was like, why are you actually he never really pushed any sort of agenda onto her, I thought, but that was also because she was so focused and so kind of clear-headed about what she wanted out of life.
Yeah, I think the only thing that he pushed onto her was more about telling her mom about the sex tape. And that
Yeah.
was because his mom was like, I'm going to tell her mom. And then he was like,
Yeah.
I think you should tell her mom. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think where I'm coming from is like I did not feel like I had that kind of support from my parents. And so like I had a very different relationship with my parents and my family growing up. So that's why I feel like being like in the relationship that I'm in, I do feel very emotionally supported. So yeah, I anchored on that side of things versus like, oh, someone's pushing me to do something and you don't know me, you don't know my life.
That's generally how I feel when people that aren't my parents tell me that I should do things. I'm like, you don't even know me.
Is that how you feel about us?
No, no. I think I feel so known and loved and seen by our friend group, but outside of my parents, my sister, and our friend group, that is how I feel generally.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I would feel the same way too. Like
Yeah.
I feel very strongly. Well, as in I feel strongly about our friend group, but maybe not my parents.
Okay, that leads me to the question that I wanted to ask you, and then I'll answer this also. If you were Justin's mom and he came to you after getting into Northwestern and was like, actually, I don't want to go anymore, how would you react to that?
I think he would have to have a very good reason to do that. But I think it depends on like so much context, right? I guess like let's assume it's Caltech and not Northwestern, so there's that like legacy factor. Um, Let me think about this. How would I feel? I think I would be disappointed, to be honest. Um, just because I feel like my life took such a strong pivot after Caltech as a result of college, in a great way. So I would definitely want that experience for my child, and I don't want my child to do anything that could potentially ruin that. At the same time, I think that luckily I have enough of a nest egg that if my kid just wants to do whatever it is that makes them feel the happiest with a plan for a higher education later, then I would be okay with that.
I think I would feel similarly to you. I would definitely want them to have a plan. I think my first reaction would be something like, college isn't just about your major and what you're going to do as your profession after school. It's also about living with people your age and, having this very unique shared experience where you're surrounded by people your age taking classes with you and living together. Um, and not only that, having a college degree opens up so many doors than just the major you're in? And
Yeah.
so I think I would try to reason with them like that. I never heard that come out of the parents' mouths, which actually really surprised me because I thought the dad would have said something like that. Like, do you
Hmm.
know why it's so important that you're the first man in our family to go to college on my side? It's because we didn't have the choices that you're going to have after college. It's because we didn't have the opportunity or anything. And after you graduate from college, you have the luxury of so much choice in your life. If you
Hmm.
want to pursue music after college, go for it. Like at least you have a college degree to back you up on that. I really wanted to see that, and I think that's how I would have responded. If my kid was like, I really want to do this 1 year program, give me a year, which is kind of what Justin did. He was like, I think I'll go to Northwestern in the fall if like nothing happens. But like, I really want to take this 1 year to pursue this. This is my plan. I will go to college after this. I just like want this year while I'm still young, while I have the motivation and the creativity to pursue this. I think I would be okay with that. If it's not just like, if I don't feel like they're just like, I just don't feel like going, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's like you've got to have a plan. But one reason why Justin didn't want to go to Northwestern is that he has like this learning disability and he has ADHD, which requires him to take extra time. And he knows that going to Northwestern, which is a academically rigorous school, will actually take away time and his creative energy basically from making music. So it wouldn't just be like, oh, you can do music on the side or you can do music afterwards. It's like you really have to buckle down and focus on the academics at Northwestern or risk getting kicked out basically. So what if your kid was coming to you with that, being like, I don't really have a plan. I don't know if I want to go to Northwestern, but happy to delay it 1 year for now. Like what would your response be?
I okay, I actually want to talk about this ADHD thing because I did they ever talk about that before he started writing his essay?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
they
when he was
did?
taking, yeah, he was taking an exam, and then his teacher came up to him and was like, "Hey, just so you know, like you are allotted extra time because of whatever." It was like some science test that he was taking, and he was like, "And considering your grades, I think you would really benefit from it." And then Justin just like kind of rage quit at him and like threw the exam at him, and then like walked away.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that part because when he started writing his essay and about how ADHD is his superpower, I was like, where did this come from? What? But okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think like I don't know. I guess in that situation I'm not sure what I would do, but I would hope that we would have had that talk before only applying to Northwestern or whatever. Like that if that's the case, great, apply to a state school or something where you think you can thrive better or, handle the workload better than like basically an Ivy League institution. Just yeah, just have some sort of plan, but I don't know. I guess I'm very traditional in the sense that like I still think there's so much value in having a college education
Yeah. I
and
think for
just
now we can say that for sure. But
yeah.
I think what you're getting at, which I agree with, is there a value in having an Ivy League brand name education versus going to a state school if you know that you're gonna do better by going to a state school?
Right, exactly. And I think the answer is no, like it doesn't matter. I think it's more about getting that college experience and having a 4-year degree than the actual college you go to.
Agreed. Yeah, totally
Yeah.
agree. I think if my kid was like, "Oh, I want to postpone Caltech or MIT for 1 year, but I don't think that that I can like handle the academic rigor," I'd be like, "Great, don't go. Like, don't."
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Especially if he has a passion like music and he wants to explore that passion. It's like, oh, absolutely, go to a state school. Like, figure it out. Get the time to figure it out. That's what college is
Yeah.
for.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Okay. My last question. Why do you think the show was set in 2018 and not 2024?
Oh, yeah, I was wondering about that too. If I had to guess, they didn't want to deal with COVID.
I was also thinking that, but do you think 2024 they would have had to deal with COVID?
Probably not. I don't know.
Okay, the book was written in 1975, so they weren't trying to keep true to the book, obviously. It wasn't like there was a flash forward or anything. That's what I was expecting the whole time. I was like, oh, they're going to show them at the end of college or something. That's why they're starting in 2018. And I thought it was going to be this like year
Maybe
on
that's what
year.
season two is about.
Oh, maybe. Um, yeah, so I was just like, why is this 2018? That's so arbitrary.
Yeah, yeah, maybe
But
that is
yeah.
what season two is about. So actually, my sister was saying that sometimes, with shows that they know are going to be popular, they automatically, um, what is it? They automatically option like 2 seasons. So
Yeah.
they build out the first season and then they can already announce that there's a second season because they know that it's going to be popular. So maybe that's why they said it in 2018 because like, oh, they're like, oh, we know that it's going to be 2 seasons. So maybe the first season can be like when they initially start dating and then season two can be more of their college years or beyond. And so they have this space to kind of get into 2025.
Yeah. Okay. I like that theory. So we shall see in season 2, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder if we can just
Um,
look that up now before we to prevent
yeah.
any doopsies. Oh, okay. Netflix officially renewed Forever for season 2 on May 14th, 2025, just 6 days after the premiere of season 1. Likely that it will be released May 2026.
Hmm, okay.
Filming has not yet started, so there's no trailer. Okay, great. So we don't know.
Okay. Well,
Great.
did you notice that the intro that said forever with all the pictures in it always had some sort of symbol from the upcoming episode? Kind of like in
Yeah.
Four Seasons?
Yes, except they actually had like stills from the upcoming
Yes, yes, yes.
episode. Yeah, yeah, I did
Yeah, sorry,
notice.
not really symbols, stills from the upcoming episode. Yeah, so the ones I noted, oh, no, maybe I shouldn't list them out because I only remember the balloons from the prom episode, the first
Mhm.
prom episode, or I guess like their first breakup. And then what was another thing? Oh, there was an Oak Bluffs thing in the Martha's Vineyard episode.
Mhm.
And I think there was a Northwestern one when he gets into Northwestern.
Yeah. I remember there was
I
a
think those
scene
are the only
where
ones.
there was a still where Keisha has like a water gun and she's like against the wall.
Oh,
I remember that one because I was like, where is that from? And then later in the episode, she does it. And I was like, oh.
oh. Oh my God, I thought Keisha was so cute. Just everything about her is adorable.
Yeah, she was so cute. Also, she had
So cute.
abs for days.
Oh my God. Damn. Yeah.
I was like, should I start running? And then I
No,
saw her,
don't do it. Running makes me gain weight.
oh no. Yeah, then I saw her like 3 a.m. morning routine, and I was like, I will not be running.
Yeah,
Wait, how did running
fair.
make you gain weight?
Oh, it's actually very common for marathon training. Not that I trained for a full marathon, I was training for a half marathon, but um basically I think like you get so hungry from long runs that you just keep eating and you
No.
feel like you're under fueled, so you just keep eating and then even though you're burning like 2,000 calories would be for a super long run. It would be for like a 22-mile run, but yeah, sometimes I would burn like 1,000 calories from my run, but I would still be in a calorie surplus just because I would keep eating.
Oh, because you'd be like, oh, but I burned so many calories, so like I can eat all the things, and then all the things
Yeah, it's
way
like that
more.
mindset, but also like I just kept feeling hungry. Like the hunger would not stop. Every 3 hours, I'd be like, I need another meal. Yeah,
Oh my God. Okay, I will not be doing that.
and a few of our friends have also said the same thing that they gain significant weight while marathon training.
Oh, maybe it's because your body is like not used to feeling so hungry, or not used
Maybe.
to like burning that many calories in a single day that it's like this like we gotta make sure that we're eating surplus in order to prepare for this crisis that is happening to us.
Emergency mode.
Yeah. Fight or flight, we picked flight. Should we do ratings?
I would rate this show maybe a 7 out of 10. Yeah, I think it was engaging. I liked the story. Kind of will they, won't they part did annoy me a bit, which is why I'm only rating it a 7. But I really liked the family dynamics and just kind of the pursuit of achievement and happiness that both kids felt throughout the show. So yeah, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I would also do 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed the way that they portrayed the teenage romance. It did feel super relatable, just like the like awkward teen romance, and the miscommunication and relationships with parents. I think one was it. I can't remember. There was one line that stood out to me that the mom said that I was like, oh, that's so true. But I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, I think it was really good. I think once the miscommunication part cleared up, which happened within 2 episodes or so, then I started getting into it a lot more.
Hmm.
Yeah, 7 out of 10. Also love the soundtrack.
Nice. Okay.
Binge in progress.
Binge in progress. Um, so I was in Seattle this past weekend and I stayed with my friend Jing, and she is equally intense about Gilmore Girls as I am. And so we watched a few episodes. We watched a few episodes of season 7, which actually is most people's least favorite season. Season 7 is not most people's favorite season because Amy Sherman-Palladino and Daniel Palladino left before that season. So it was written by the other writers in the room, and a lot of people don't consider it like canon for that reason. So we watched a few episodes from that season. We also watched a few episodes from Year in the Life, which was the reboot 10 years after the original show aired, or 8 years after the original show aired. And we watched a few episodes of season 3 of Gilmore Girls, so that's really all we watched.
Wow. Speaking of Amy Sherman-Palladino, I started watching Étoile, which I think we kind of talked about in some earlier segments, but I'm like more than 4 seconds into it now. I'm 4 or 5 episodes in. So I started watching that, and I think we're going to do a podcast on it, so stay tuned for that. In other news, I haven't started, but I play this game, Pokemon TCG Pocket, and there was a new pack that was released like a couple days ago called Extra Dimensional Crisis. So I've been opening those packs. That was my nerd out moment, which Shalini said I could do.
I did! What's Pokemon TCG? I forgot the other words.
It's basically like Pokemon trading card game, but digitally. So it's like on an app, which I really like because I really hate like collecting physical things. I would really much rather collect digital things because I really like collecting, but I'm also a minimalist. So those two things are generally at odds with each other. So I love games that allow me to collect virtually. So yeah, you can like open packs and collect Pokemon and stuff, and also battle online with bots and with players.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Should I open a pack, Shalini? I can do it right now. Okay. Here's Extra Dimensional Crisis. Let's see what we get. Okay, I'm gonna make you choose one.
Boy.
Tell me when.
Stop.
This?
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, meditate.
It's trip over. No, meditate.
I can just...
What's trip over?
Ooh, we got a new Ultra Beast.
Circuitry?
Yeah, that's it.
Nice.
That's the fun part of it, is just opening the packs.
Great.
The end.
Thanks for yapping. But should we tell our listeners what shows we have in the pipeline that are coming up next?
Yes. Go for it.
BYR. All right. So, after today's episode, our next episode will be Étoile, which Ruchi was just talking about, which will release on June 10th. Then June 12th, we will be covering the newest season of Ginny and Georgia, season 3. Oh, I actually forgot to mention during Binge in Progress, I started season 1 of Ginny and Georgia just to remind myself of the beginning of the show.
Good call.
And then after that, I might do an episode with my sister on The Pit. We might do Department Q, which is a new show on Netflix. So listeners, if you have opinions on what you would like us to cover next, definitely let us know.
Now is the time. And then the more recent, the better, because, we can binge a show in like a day, so. Yay.
That's our biggest strength. Thanks for yapping with us. If you loved this episode, have some hot takes we missed, or if you've got a show you're dying for us to binge next, follow us on socials. We're at Binge Yap Repeat.
Until next time, happy binging!